And for more, let's cross over to Simon McGregor-Wood, who can join us live now from London. Hi, Simon. First, help us understand how British intelligence may have been involved in this making of this alleged dossier.
Well, it is assumed that through the good offices of something called GCHQ, the government's listening post down in the west of England, they may have for some time been gathering material, trying to establish any connections between Trump team and Russian intelligence. And this report, which we understand has been handed to the FBI as an addendum to last week's report on Russian alleged hacking of the American election process, is largely based, it is said, on a former British intelligence official who has a good track record of providing quality and reliable information on Russia. Little more is known about the identity of that person or where she may now be based, but that is essentially the British connection to it.
Okay, and we're also hearing now that Boris Johnson has upset the Russians with some veiled accusations he's made. Make some sense out of that for us.
Not so thinly veiled. You'll remember that he dashed to New York to have consultations with Team Trump on Sunday and Monday. He met Republican officials, and he came back and briefed the House of Commons, suggesting that the Russians have been up to some very dirty tricks. And he said that he had explained this and had discussions with the Trump team in New York, based on whatever access he has had to intelligence reports, suggesting that the Russians need to be, we need to be very careful about going forward with Russia. He was also very clear to say that there are some issues on which we must negotiate and cooperate with the Russians. Now, in response to that, the Russian embassy in London has issued a pretty strongly worded, and I have to say almost Soviet-style statement rejecting those sorts of accusations and attacking Boris Johnson, accusing the UK no less than of launching an anti-Russian witch hunt.
And not just with the United States. There are also allegations of Russian interference in two other European countries. So what else can you tell us about that?
Well, you're absolutely right. There have been all sorts of stories swirling around Europe generally about the forthcoming elections in Europe, in France and Germany, and how we should be very wary about possible Russian attempts to influence the results of those elections. We have two reports today to bring you up to speed on. One from Germany, a media assertion that in December, the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe, a large organization of which Russia and the United States are both members, by the way, was the target of a Russian-backed hacking attack. And then we also have reports from Sweden, from quite a prestigious foreign policy institute, suggesting that over the course of the last few years, Sweden has also been the target of concerted Russian government-backed hacking attacks and the planting of false news stories. Why Sweden? Well, it is alleged that Russia has, well, we know Russia has very concerted interests in the Baltic region, and for many years they've been very concerned at the prospect of Sweden joining NATO. That's been a debate in Sweden for decades. It is a debate that has new impetus given what Russia is up to, it is argued, and this attack, according to this institute, is designed to keep the Swedish government and society off balance and prevent it from joining NATO, which it is argued would be very bad news for Russia and its attempt to influence affairs in the Baltic and generally in Europe.
Okay, Simon McGregor-Wood bringing some clarity to a very complex issue now. Thanks so much for that, Simon.